Whoop. Let's see.
What are we facing here?
A relic of the old world.
Is the sound
Ready your
okay?
men, Captain.
No!
We will only get one chance.
Okay.
And remember, when you hear the whispers, call for help. Do not attack.
When you hear the whispers, what do you think he was on about?
It's Dorman, right?
Yeah?
Then Dorman, shut your damn mouth.
Let's go!
Why do I always get stuck with these rookies?
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Quiet.
Grab yourself some popcorn and go. Out.
Sullen!
She hot.
A mean cleave, eh, Captain? Rookie can't even lift his own sword.
Uh-oh.
Captain Oren? Captain?
Somebody is missing.
It's here. Rain! Send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain! On my back, Rookie. Blade up!
Come on, come on! I'm ready. I'm ready. It's a man.
No, it's not.
Oh yeah.
Run!
Uh-oh. Captain.
Captain! Captain!
Stop! Humanity isn't ready.
On your feet, lad.
Sir, the captain,
You'll be fine. Here.
Here. Very promising.
What is it?
I would have dropped it.
Get the body.
Stop. Mortal. It can still be contained. You don't know what you have unleashed.
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Bind him! Feed. Grow, my child.
Well,
I'll
well,
make
well.
sure you can eat your fill.
I would would say that's a good intro to our cinematic,
Hi.
better to say.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th.
1 week.
Even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge.
It's not a man,
This
it's
live stream,
a
we're
smoke
going to be
demon from Lost.
introducing everything you
Never
can
seen
expect.
that.
So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Lost.
Existence is a thing of beauty, precious, but impermanent. Life and death are mortal enemies, and yet bound to one another. The continuation of life must be protected at all costs. Some have said my methods are brutal. To this, I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Okay. I mean, a little bit of gameplay I've seen before, but this trailer with the cinematics and everything is really impressive compared to what Path of Exile 1 was. Well. The infamous skill tree. And I still don't know what to start with when I will play this game, and I will play it for a fact. There's no doubt about that.
We are faced with the end, and I will do what I must.
So beautiful. If it would have come out a little earlier, then I would have said, Game of the Year. A lot of shooty though. I'm not sure if I'm playing one of those builds.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
He got the clap.
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2 is a big game. It's actually been 5 years since we announced PoE 2, and over that time we've revealed a lot, but it's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty hard to keep track of it all, so today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access. Classes, character progression systems, and for the first time, a full overview of the end game. This is going to be a big one, so get comfortable. For 20 years, Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption, but the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power,
That's a
intends to
nice
harness it
gaming
once more.
chair.
The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading. Under the dark influence of corruption,
Well.
the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him.
That should be the character selection screen, and it's so crazy. You choose one class and the other ones, yeah, they're not making it.
This is where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham, traverse the barren plains of the Vasteri Desert, and delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city. There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation.
Snap.
On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
That will be the hardest part.
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos.
That looks a lot like something that
To get new skills,
will
you'll
be
first
too
need to
tough
find
for me to
skill
pull
gems.
off. I will
Using a
just
skill
die.
gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE 2. You can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since
Talking
this is a
about
level 7
overwhelming.
skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new. The monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice, and wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one. The best combos are going to involve mixing elements of all 3. Let's try killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation.
I don't
If there's an
know.
enemy on low life,
I feel like they should have gone more in
this will
the
provide a power charge.
no
Then we
weapon
can use a different
attacks.
skill to consume that power charge for a much
For
more
a monk?
devastating attack. The monk also has powerful combo skills.
Running around with
Tempest
his
Bell,
stuff?
for example, is a skill that places a
Not
giant
sure about
resonating
that.
bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around it. You can also do things like freeze or shock the bell, which will add elemental damage to the strikes. The monk also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff. If an enemy is close to being stunned, you can use Staggering Palm to punch them down. After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles.
Oh, I have no
There are
idea what's
21
going on
active
with
skills
this
for quarter
class.
staves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating screens
It
of enemies.
seems like a
with
lot of
huge
people
combo
are really
attacks.
interested in the monk.
Now, if you like a style of melee that's a
That
little
is
slower,
more my
but hits
kind of
much
play.
harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big, chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of armor.
A lot of bonking.
Even though the mace slams are slow, you never lose control. Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time. Among the skill option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I
It's a
can double
little
that
bit
for even
laggy in
more craziness.
between.
If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells. While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break.
I
and you will
wonder
be
if
vulnerable.
there is some retaliation mechanic at a certain point.
Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way.
That's a little bit a
Using a
mix of
shield also gives you access to shield skills,
the
like Shield
duelist
Charge,
and
which allows you to charge towards enemies and
what's
stop
his
them.
face?
While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake. But you can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire.
I really hope
This is
my
a meta
PC
skill,
can handle
which
this
means that it's a
game.
skill you can put other skills into. I
Please.
can take a slam like Sunder and socket it into my Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there and slam the monsters from a distance. There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on. Time for some ranged attacks. The ranger is primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well. In
Holy
PoE 2, you can
moly.
shoot while moving.
That's
Combined
very
with all the
zoomy.
skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat.
I wish in Diablo
Both
4
skills have a variety
the
of lightning,
ranger
poison,
would
ice,
have
and
been that
physical
way.
attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat. Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you. Using poison, not only can you slowly damage your enemies from afar, but also
Holy
grow some
moly.
interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes.
These effects for sure will
You
kill
might
the
have noticed in
stream.
the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you have one dedicated life flask slot and one mana flask slot.
That is so awesome. That
Flasks
you don't
gain
have
charges as you
to
kill
do the
enemies,
flask
and
piano
typically allow
like
you
we
to
had to
heal
do in
6 or 7
PoE 1.
times if they're full. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from
So they
various
took
debuffs
the-
or damage types.
They took the
Having trouble with
utility
getting frozen?
flask into the
They call it a
charms.
thawing
That
charm.
is
When it's
really,
fully
really
charged,
nice. I
it'll
love
make you
it.
immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters.
Let's see how
You
that
can
will
gain
work
more
out
slots for charms by
when there
upgrading
is no
your belt.
time that is refreshing it. I have no
The
idea how
mercenary
that will
wields a
work in the
crossbow
end.
that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility, power, and mobility. All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find
I'm not
skills
sure
like
about that
shotguns,
one.
sniper rifles,
Playing like a
assault
shooter?
rifles, and even grenade
In
launchers.
ISO?
But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate
You have
enemies,
to
then
walk
switch to
with
fragmentation rounds to explode
WASD
the
and then
ice, dealing
aim with the
massive AoE
mouse?
damage.
Holy
If
moly, I
come
need
across
another
an armored
hand.
enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage.
The interaction of various
If
skills
you want to cause some
is
suppressing
really
fire,
something
you can summon
awesome.
artillery ballistas. These have a minimum range, so you'll want
Of course, to
prepare your
understand
position
what is
carefully
doing
before
what
moving
is
in.
kind of hard.
There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with
22.
grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun. If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the witch should
Yeah.
be your choice.
Use
You can
another
call
hand.
forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her, while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, special
A lot of
weapons,
moving
curses, and
around.
sacrificial magic.
I assume to
Before
not
we
get
talk about
eaten.
minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit.
Spirit.
This is a spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell.
They really
For the
reused
witch
some of
side,
the
we want
skills
to be
of the
using our
previous
spirit to create
one
permanent minions. These
and
minions will be revived
gave them
automatically when they
new
die, so you don't have to worry about
mechanics.
summoning them all the time.
That's
Here, I'm using
crazy.
the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap, but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army.
I can
so I'm
see
going
me
to
doing
unsummon some
that.
warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists.
Running with an army of skellies
Permanent
around?
minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for even more damage.
We
and
learned how
area of
powerful
effect.
they are
If
in
you
Lord
want
of
a
the
bigger
Rings.
army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends.
Friends.
And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down. There are 25 active occult skills. By the endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path.
That's so crazy.
The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This
I can see
classic
Timey
spellcaster
playing
weaves a
something like
flurry of
that.
Elemental magic from the fire. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through
And
it.
this interaction
If you
is
place a wall
just
and fire lightning
crazy.
sparks through it, they'll
There
get
were
extra
only a
fire
couple
damage.
of them in Path of Exile
It's
1.
a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically
But
swap weapons when you use certain
here
skills.
with multiple
Having a special staff
elements,
with bonuses to fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning
That
skills
is
can
so
really power up
wild.
a combo like this. The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full,
Firestorm.
a firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited. There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right as you rain down elemental storms on your
What
foes.
is going on?
Now, those are the characters that will be available at the start of early access. But we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these.
Imagine
There's a
that.
lot more to come. There's one more
6
important
more
thing to mention
classes
about
out of
skills.
nowhere.
Even though we talk about them as
They're
belong to
working
each
on
class, in reality, there are no restrictions. You can use all these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a poison ranger might want to try out using occult curses to increase her poison damage, or a monk might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use with his glacial cascade combo. The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet.
Yeah, not even scratched
So let's
the
talk about
surface.
support gems.
Nice. Holy
Path of Exile
moly.
2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any
Okay.
skill. Normally, when you fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills on your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment.
Well,
Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage.
I like that
if you
you're
want
not
to stick to the
depending on
recommendations,
the
you should have a
links on
perfectly
the
good time.
chest
But if
and
you want to
stuff
experiment
anymore.
a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from.
Well,
and even we don't know the results of all the
100?
possible ways these can
multiple
interact.
hundreds.
Each skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it. And if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now, all of this is just scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat, make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems.
Well,
the passive skill tree.
here we go.
Yes, it's huge. There are over 1,500 nodes on there. Now, a lot of people open the tree and can get a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared.
For sure
There are
did
lots
not
of
happen to
options,
me.
But at its core,
Never.
it's pretty simple. Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
That was the ghost guy, right? That he touched?
Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using.
That's similar to
For
one,
example,
of course.
in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up a second time. This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely. Note that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes.
It's crazy
So there
that the
are often reasons
mercenary
to go
has
different
to
areas of the tree.
reload.
In order to get between these clusters,
I
you
for
will
sure will
generally have
forget
to
that
allocate
one.
nodes in the attribute highways. Attribute nodes allow you to pick which attribute you would like to use, so it's very easy to get points for any attribute that your gear might need. You can change which attribute these nodes give you for half price at the respec vendor. In addition to notables, you will also find even larger passives called keystones. Keystones have both an upside and a downside.
So far,
often
so the
require
same.
changing your entire build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield 2-hand weapons in a single hand, but
Oh,
doubles the attribute
yeah.
requirements of them. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
I can see me doing
How
that.
about Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your mana regen.
Yeah, that is
Skills like
something
these
that I
can be
will
tough
die
to
with
build
for
around, but if you're
100%.
up for the challenge, they can be very rewarding. As we showed you earlier on the Sorceress, you can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning
It's
specialization.
not complicated enough. You have to have two different
Or you can switch between
trees
one
there.
hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace. Or perhaps you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage.
Ooh, this with the
If you want to
skellies?
stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest however you like. But creative players will find plenty of opportunities with this system.
Yeah, that's me.
You can get
Creative.
weapon specialization points throughout the campaign from
Known for
optional
that.
bosses and quests.
Not copying
For
any
example,
guide.
if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map, you can see icons that indicate the many optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance.
Okay.
One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even
Okay.
talked about the most important element of character progression.
Items!
That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently. As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting
Yeah, but that's
unwanted
very
gear at the
good.
magic item
So
vendor.
that you don't
If
hold
you
to your
disenchant magic
currency
items, you can
all
build
the
up to
game
an
and not
Orb of
using it at all.
Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs.
What may or may not have
Another
happened to me in the
important area of
past
crafting items
multiple
in PoE2
times.
is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build.
Not
like
just
resistances
resistance,
or
but
damage.
also
If you
cold
find socketed
damage.
items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage
That's
bench in
kinda
town
cool.
to work towards an artificer's orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and one-hand weapons can only have 1 socket. You can
That's
also salvage items with quality
good
to create
with
items like armor scraps
two-hand
or
weapons.
whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost.
Unless the shield has also 2
If you don't want
slots.
to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random
I mean,
item
the
of a
gold they
specific
introduced
type.
in the last
This
Path
can
of
be a
Exile
great way
leak,
to
so
improve
it
your
makes
gear,
sense.
if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required.
As required is
Another thing you
good.
might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on an open market, in exchange for a small gold fee.
Hey,
Now, all
Quispon!
items in Path of Exile are freely tradable.
And
You
this
never
Cutie
bind
Patootie
anything
is
to your
also
character
based
except gold.
Now, Thank you
most
so
gear in
much.
Path of Exile 2 is randomly
Hope you're having a
generated,
good day.
but there's another type that isn't. Uniques. They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your character. Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison. The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink, morphing you into sand as you teleport past your foes. And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine, like Quill Rain, which just turns your bow
Yeah, I
attacks
mean,
into full
okay,
auto, doubling your
the
attack speed.
uniques are kind of hard to find, so it's more
Each unique
luck
is something that you can build your character around.
if you
We
find
try to
something
make
like
sure that
that.
most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on. And as you can see, every single unique item comes with custom art to match.
Stay hydrated, by the way.
The last character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available. Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can drastically affect how you build your character. As a sorceress, you could become a Stormweaver, a master of the elements.
Okay.
Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you
Yeah,
do a
just
critical hit
everything on
with a
the
spell.
screen.
With Strike Twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage.
You prefer
And
your
going
corpses
deeper into
intact?
the tree, you
No.
make all your damage types apply
They
shock.
need to burst
Make
into
shock build from any
gas.
Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself.
That looks also very
She literally
cool.
has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities.
Many?
Using Temporal Rift, she
How
can
many,
teleport
though?
back to a previous location,
Thank you so
setting her
much.
life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time
You
Snap,
got a
she can reset all
strong
her
streak
cooldowns
there.
and cast all her spells again. On the Warrior, you can choose between the Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power.
Skylar!
Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral
Thank you so
spirits linked
much.
to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage,
Dirty
you encase your body in a
mums.
protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks.
That is almost a year.
Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the corpses of your enemies. And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries.
Yeah, explore them.
Let
No,
all that
explode
anger
them.
The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam
Big
is a chance to create an
bonkies,
aftershock.
smooshies.
With
I
crushing
love it.
impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With surprising strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With endless munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile.
Wait, what?
With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful, she loses them when getting hit.
How many
Eagle Eyes,
projectiles?
she will never miss, allowing you to
Can
stop
there
wasting
be?
all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison.
The
She can
flask
choose from one
finder.
of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive
Hey,
bottles that deal
lady
various
Tessa.
types of damage.
How you doing?
A bleeding concoction will make your enemies
Yeah,
bleed,
all the
while a
projectiles.
fulminating one can shock you,
Course.
allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while Overwhelming Toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies.
The movement while shooting is something that
Which
is
can ascend into the
super
Infernalist or the
awesome.
Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies.
There's so much skill interaction.
She can also transform into a literal demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well.
I mean, that
So
is
if you're planning on
cool.
transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery.
Holy
She
moly.
can also become a Blood Mage, a master of life.
Flying
and
around
energy.
like Lilith.
All Blood Mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana, But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life.
I
With
doubt that
Crimson
I can
Powers,
pull
she
something
gain
like
large
this
amounts
off
of extra
because
life, and with Vitality Siphon, she can use her spells to
playing
leech
around
life
with a
back as well.
life for
Once
attacks,
you've got a significant amount of life,
that can
you can use
go
Gore
wild.
Spike to make your
That's
critical hits deal
PoE2, yes.
incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an invoker. With elemental expression, the invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With faith as a choice,
That
you
will
gain
come
the ability
out
to
next
meditate,
week.
allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the blizzard or I am the thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I shall rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar. Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain unbound fury.
this reminds me of
You
the
have
monk
enough,
in
transform into an
Diablo
avatar
3,
to
and
deal way
I
more damage
love
with
this
even more
class,
elemental
so
ailments.
maybe I will
Some monks choose to reach
touch
into the
it as well.
darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well. Another node you can take is
The monk has
Waking
nice
Dream,
hair. That
which
is
allows you to see
more
into the domain
important.
of the Breach Demons.
Damage, who needs
There you will
damage?
see the flames of Chayula
Look
that can
cool.
be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a witch hunter. Obsessive rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks.
I mean,
With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance
it's a
to explode
stylish
on
class,
death.
no,
The chances
there's
double
no
against
question
demons
about
and undead.
that.
With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting powerful bosses. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh.
The
Integrated Efficiency will
Gatling
give you extra skill
crossbow.
slots.
That's so awesome.
Dermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock
Pew,
up
pew,
more and
pew,
more
pew,
support
pew.
gems. Adaptive Capability allows you to use any color of gem without worrying about attributes, while Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character.
I like that
those are
they
the
added
ascendancy
to
classes for the
the
start of early
video
access.
a lot
One
of
thing we haven't
gameplay
talked about yet is
footage,
how you ascend in the first place.
not just going over the skill tree.
Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the great
Swag
trials,
is the real
which
meta.
you'll find as you progress through
100%.
the campaign.
Nothing else.
Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayquaza.
If you're not looking cool, then, you know, what are
Located
the
in the
abilities
Vasteri
even worth
Plains
it?
are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience.
So many
To enter,
details
a warrior of
to the
Maraketh must
environment and
prove their
everything.
worth by
That is
trapping the
just
soul of a gem
crazy.
in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed on the relic altar to begin the trial.
I mean, that's similar to the mechanic that they have, not
In
for the
trial of
trials,
the Sekimas, each room has its
but
own challenges to
for one of
overcome.
the
In this room, each rare monster you
seasons
kill
in
will
Path
send
of
its
Exile
blood
1.
to the chalice in the center of the room. Once
And
the
I
chalice is filled,
never did
you will
that
be able
because
to
I was
proceed.
so bad.
While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful.
So
Each
bad
hit will
with
not only
that.
hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas.
So it's a little bit
After each
harder,
room,
it
you will be
seems.
rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to
Yay!
proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with
I
Spike
wonder how
Shell
many
that
people
will cause
are
all monsters in the
failing
rest
with
of the
this
trial
kind
to
of
have 50%
gauntlet.
increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters,
Save the skellies!
and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Jinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of the rewards you may find is sacred water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the Jinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor,
This is
gain
not how
additional
Jinn
boons,
looks like.
or remove afflictions.
It should be blue.
At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the advantage of playing this with minion
Having
build
defeated
is
the boss,
you
you've
don't
earned
have
the
to
right
tank that
ascend.
crap.
But first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the
Stay
vault at the
hydrated.
end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys. Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you 2 points to use in the tree. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy Trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension.
That is
Each
cool.
culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you
I
can try
like the
another.
choices
You
in
can gain
games.
all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release. While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power.
There he is.
Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the
It
odds?
looks a little bit
Before you begin each chamber, the
I
Trial
would
Master
say
will offer you a reward
lacking
and a choice. Choose one of
food.
3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we will be picking shocking turrets. As you enter the room, the Trial Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets.
I mean, okay, that's just regular gameplay. Dodge the evil stuff and kill everything else. I see myself more doing this than doing the other stuff where don't get hit and don't die.
After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk.
Gamba, gamba, gamba.
Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires
Oh
you to
my
escort the stone
goodness.
idol through the
The
levels.
damage that they're taking
to attack
here.
you. Should you be able to get through the first 3 chambers, you will face your
Oh,
first boss.
burp.
The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the
I
fight
mean,
will
kind
never
of
feel the same.
bird.
After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course, there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already did the Trial of the Sekimas, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class. Now, it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame.
Okay.
So how about we talk about that now? So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but some people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins. Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content.
Yeah, I know
Well,
which
we
one
want to
he's
make sure
talking
that in
about.
PoE2 people don't feel that way. And we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great.
They're talking throughout the whole game.
A 25-hour
What do you
campaign
mean?
is already a huge game with lots of content. But for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the endgame challenges to overcome. So several months ago, we switched the
wait,
entire
who the heck is
development
that?
team's focus over to making endgame content. At the start of early
That's a
access, there were
trailer
50 bosses and around
that we are
400
watching.
monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80%
And the
there.
designer
We're adding
is
content to roughly double the size of the game
explaining
during
what
early
we are
access and into
seeing.
release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you
and
repeat
the
campaign
game
with all monsters and
I
bosses
think
leveled up.
will
And of
not
course, new
be
rewards.
talked
You
over
can kind of think of it as like a new game plus.
unless I do.
It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins.
Well.
Once we add the remaining 3 acts,
What is
we'll be
Rando playing, by the
removing
way?
difficulty. So you'll
Nothing.
progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame.
Oh
What is the
Lord.
endgame? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He
Ay,
can tell you more about it.
ay. I hope you had good.
I'm Mark Roberts.
That's
game
another
director on
designer.
Path of
Oh no,
Exile 2.
director.
Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between. Each endgame mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that
Hey
content.
Zoe.
We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2, we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through. This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame.
So
for Path of
beautiful
Exile 2.
compared to the previous
It's infinite
game
and expands in all directions.
that they
Now, we
did
are
this
not going to
with
spoil the plot too
3D.
much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas, you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources.
That's endgame.
In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected.
Party.
All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign.
Okay.
We have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some
Big number
serious
good, right?
challenges. In
400.
order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it.
I hope
Once
it's
you
not
have
the
done
same
that,
like another
the area
game that
will
I
be
don't want
marked
to
as
mention
completed,
again
and you will be
that
able to
started
travel
with.
past it to progress
Yeah,
deeper
we have
into
so
the
many
world.
different monster
If
types
you
and
die,
bosses,
then the
and
map
they were
will
just
no longer be run,
reskins.
and you will have to find
Hey,
another way
Buckley,
around
how
to
you
get to the
doing?
areas behind it. There are also all
Hi,
kinds of
Rando
other
Timey,
random
what?
encounters you might run into
Why you
as you
call
play
me,
maps. One such encounter
Timey?
are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around
sus.
them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open
Trust
it,
me,
and the boxes
did you
often
right?
have mechanisms to
Not
unleash
big
powerful
rushed out
spells or dangerous
grab like the
debuffs.
other one.
There are different types of strong
Cthulhu,
boxes
I'm
containing
100%
different
with you.
items, and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can
Welcome in.
optimize the content. But be careful of opening one you can't handle.
Because I understand if it's New Zealand, brave. Yeah, because GGG is from New Zealand. So Grinding Gear Games, so these are the this is the studio that
Sometimes you'll
develops
discover
Path
monsters
of Exile.
frozen
They
in
are from
essences, solidified crystalline
New Zealand.
corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed
and
mod
yes,
from a category.
he got a little bit more of an accent.
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod.
That they're using a similar mechanic that they have in Path of Exile 1 is so crazy to me, and then they're even making it better looking. Are they really in New Zealand? This never has cool stuff. I'm surprised. Wait,
And we
what?
can get a very nice pair of boots indeed.
Of course.
Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items.
They also
Adding
made
prefix
balloons
mods
in
will
New
improve the
Zealand, I think.
rewards,
So,
while
come
suffix
on.
mods increase
It's a
danger.
cool game.
The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters.
Yeah, that will
some
be
are more
something to
linear, and
figure
others
out.
more open. Make sure you
What's
explore
doing
and think
what and
about
what
makes certain maps
can you
good
handle
if you
in a
want to
game.
maximize your returns. As
With,
you cleanse
what
corruption
stage
from
of your
higher
gear.
and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree.
Okay.
This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards
And
of
another
all
tree.
areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later.
Perhaps.
You might find unique maps
Or
like
maybe not.
Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition,
Give me
you
all
can
your
find
stuff.
special areas that would make a good spot to
I want
set up
all
camp.
the items.
Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit, and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations.
Holy moly.
A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking.
Removing Fog of
Some
War with
sections of your
towers.
Atlas are influenced
That's
by
so great
corruption.
that you
This
don't
adds
see
extra
everything
modifiers
from
to
the
the maps
get-go
in
and
the
can
region,
straight go
increasing
there.
difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these
May I?
icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss.
Yay!
Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them.
Grotesque
if you do choose to hunt
abominations.
bosses, though, then you will be rewarded
Yeah,
with special
that looks
points for
like,
the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree.
you can
The
be
points here
easily
will allow you to
overwhelmed by
specialize in
a
boss killing,
mistake.
giving you much greater rewards for defeating them.
Killing something, with cooldown and
Each
whatnot,
different
and
type of
then
content
suddenly
in the
they come
endgame,
back
we are adding
in
specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the
Abomina-
need to respec your
abomination
points
style.
when you change between different
And
types
roll
of
you.
content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is
Holy
still a lot more to
moly.
come.
More
Bosses
to
are not
come.
the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For
Yes.
PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards,
Have
and
I ever done
progression
it?
are
Yes.
all new.
Have
A
I been
breach
good
is
at
a
it?
tear in
No.
the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging
These
with a
timed
breach,
events
you'll create
are a
bridge
little bit
between their
rough,
world
I
and
think,
Rayclast.
if your build is
In
not
order
really
to keep the
good.
breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will
Yep.
fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach.
Clapped
so keep
hands.
an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers.
So many items, so many thingies.
Breaches will
Oh,
drop
God.
breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets.
More
Soon
of
your Atlas
everything.
will be covered
Yeah.
in otherworldly domains.
Give me more.
In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer.
Okay.
Often you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking
What can
the
go
mods from
wrong,
multiple
right?
tablets.
Just juice it up.
In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mods. You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life.
Numbers.
Breach rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each endgame mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a Breach Stone. Using a
300.
Vaal technology called
Okay.
the Realm Gate, you can use your Breachstone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants.
Okay. So it's endless breach or what?
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
Okay. He just wants to hug you. That's so awesome. By the way, this voice is in the game.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself. But rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made.
So I'm
All
saying
these
goodbye to my
encounters
life
have
in a week
specific
is what I'm
uniques that
seeing.
can only be found from them, but that's not all. We still have the progression system.
Yes.
Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your
Well, I
breaches
think
and adds a pack of
as the
magic
game
monsters that
will
can cover.
hopefully
Get some more
persist for a
points
long
and you can
time, you don't
allocate
have to know
breaking
life
damage, which will
in the
double
first
number of
week.
splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious demon.
I think the early access
In
they
order to
announced
earn
will
more
be
points, you will
something
need to
like
defeat
6
Zesht
to
at a
12
higher
months,
difficulty, and some
and then there
rewards
will
from
be
Zesht
the
can only
game
be found
release.
by increasing the difficulty of the twisted
So
domain
there
above
is more
certain
to
thresholds.
come. They
Defeating
will add
Zesht
more
at
stuff
difficulty 4 will
over
be a
time.
challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Ray class.
Smacked.
Ritual altars
of
are
course I can
sacrificial
understand.
sites built by the mysterious king in the mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that
Don't
the
have
area
to, but I know
contains
myself.
ritual altars.
Yeah.
Ritual altars demand tribute.
But this is what I always say, you
Every
know,
monster
you want
slaughter
to
in the
do
circle will
everything
feed the altar.
at the same
After
time,
the sacrifice,
and
touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters
gotta
you just
stop
killed will be
yourself a little bit
resurrected
to
by the
not
King of the Mist's dark magic,
overwhelm,
and you
burn
must fight to
out,
survive.
and whatnot in the first week, because
The tribute you
makes
have
no
offered
sense,
to the
you
altar
know.
can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute,
The
you will
game
want
most
to find
probably
more
will be there
altars.
for a long
Each successive
time.
ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived
But
by
of
the
course, I
previous
can
ones,
understand
in
everyone that
addition
wants to
the
do
ones you
everything
sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area,
at the
you'll
start.
be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for meta crafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This
Yeah.
omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want while keeping the ones you
For
do.
sure, this
There
is
are
how
a
it
bunch more of
works.
these with
It
different
removes the
effects,
one that
but
you
we will
don't
leave
want
them
and
for
you
to
get a good
discover.
one.
Now don't forget
always
that ritual
works.
will also drop tablets, which can be used to
Not.
specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach,
Okay.
there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain
I've
points in
never
the
seen the
ritual
King of the
section
Mist in
Atlas
PoE
tree.
1.
Some maps have been touched by insanity. A mysterious
Delirium.
entity has taken a special interest in you. Step through
I
the looking
love
glass
it.
and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the
What
mist you travel,
happened?
the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels for terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree.
Okay, that's
This
blight.
is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get.
I mean, that's
Distilled
like Blight in
emotions can also
PoE
be
1.
used to
That's
instill
cool.
your
I
endgame
like that.
maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards.
It's good that
allowing
they
you to
added this
further
to
juice your
Delirium
in-game
because the
maps.
clusters.
The tablets you can
Meh.
find from Delirium can be used to
I was
further
not a fan of
improve,
that.
increase pack size,
Hello
make the
there.
fog dissipate slower,
Thank you so much
or
for the
improve your
follow,
progress towards the
Cthulhu
pinnacle
Tentacles.
encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree.
Stay too long,
Next
you
up,
get
we have
one shot by
Expedition.
demons. Like it always
Occasionally,
is.
while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up with
Expedition.
explosives. The Kalgurans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place
Either it's
explosives
super
as best
easy
you
or
can
you
to
get
dig up as many as
rolled by
possible.
something that
There
is
is just one problem.
that you're not able
Corruption
to
has brought
handle.
the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts.
As usual, you know, you play fire build,
You can also
they're immune
find
to fire,
remnants,
and then you
the
stand there.
destruction of which
Okay.
will further anger the restless
Well,
dead.
well, well.
Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards.
I
This
don't
one
see
increases
myself
the
doing
radius of
that.
explosives, while
Not
this
at
one
all.
increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics. Essentially, one giant dig site.
I mean, we will do it all. There's no question
Here,
about
you
it.
can create an
Just to
extremely long chain of
figure out
explosives
if
and
it's
go
any
through a
good,
very high
if
number
it's
of
fun or
remnants.
not.
But be careful. Many remnants have
Based
mods
on what
that
we
can
see,
really
we
break your
don't know.
build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants,
Until
can
you want
easily
something that's
make the
locked in
encounter
there, yeah,
harder
for
than you can
sure.
handle. There are
As
all
usual.
sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks.
And then you suddenly
might
start to
find
like
dripping
it, and you
caves
think,
and hidden pirate caches.
I missed
but the
out.
most powerful encounter is Olroth, the ancient undead commander of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him will grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the
He
Atlas tree.
cool.
So those are the in-game systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more
One more
content when
little
you get to
thing.
in-game too. Just like the other in-game systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level coins for the Trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore.
Oh gosh.
Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill.
Holy moly, what am I witnessing
There are
here?
4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sycamores is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree. These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning
I thought they
damage and shock
would
chance,
make
for
the game a
example.
little bit
There
easier
are
for
quite a
new
few
players.
jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to
I
gain
mean,
a lot of power.
I am
here.
a new player.
There are also other types of jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them.
Oh,
This jewel
man.
increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%.
Okay.
With careful placement in the tree, you
Jewels.
could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects.
It's
but
kind of good that
you will
they're
have to find
centered
those for
now,
yourself.
so that you don't have to
In
walk
order to
out
push further
on the
into
tree.
trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of
This
its
is endgame
progression
stuff. I'm
system.
sure the start is
Relics.
fine. Yeah,
Relics
I
are
hope
items that can
so.
be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special
I mean,
bonuses
I
that
have
affect the trial, making it
3,000
easier
hours in
and
Path of
increasing its
Exile
rewards.
1, so
Of course, you
I
can
am a
craft these
newbie.
with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward
As
you with
crazy
one
as
of
that
many
sounds.
unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this
Okay.
is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to
Don't
do a
worry, this
completely
may
hitless
be
run.
post level 65. Will I?
The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels,
Okay.
the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Val style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's
With all
worth it.
those
The Trial
necrophants
Master will tempt you with
makes me
items of the
happy.
Val
Yeah.
Empire, such as Val Orbs. Val Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified
That's
further,
crazy, Gamba.
so it has to be
But-
the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful.
At least
one. For
it has
example,
not,
if you use one on your body armor,
the
it might
limitation
add a
of the
new
sockets
powerful
as it had,
enchantment, or it might reroll
in
up to half of
PoE1.
its modifiers. Val Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of
Because
how
the
many
skill
sockets an
gems, they
item can
were
have.
always
A body
in
armor can
those
get up to 3
sockets,
sockets this way,
and
allowing
not just
for a
here.
significant number of mods.
some additional
Val
mods.
Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them
I wanna cry when
incredibly
I'm playing
powerful,
Necro.
but there is a good
100%.
chance that you will break them
Running
as well.
around with all those little
The Trial
scary
Master
friends.
will also
That is
occasionally
awesome.
offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Val sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all endgame content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final
Of
chamber
course.
will drop keys to this mysterious door. Some say this is where the Trial Master
Look
himself
how easy he
resides.
died.
Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2.
Okay.
While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with
Hey,
danger.
Beard. How you
Is the
doing?
maze preventing something from getting in? Or something getting out?
Yeah, pinnacle bosses,
This fortress is of ancient
I-
origin, and its construction has similarities to the
I
towers
wonder
and tablets that you have been using
that
on your
might
journey
be.
through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for
Tired,
access to
you?
the fortress in order to seize the power they believe
Not
will be
tired at
inside.
all.
Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city, but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful.
Okay.
If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will
Wow.
gain access to the fortress.
Don't die.
We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you
Wow.
can see, this project is crazy huge.
Indeed
Way
it
bigger than even
is.
we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access, you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing PoE supporters who have spent more than $480, we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC version for free. Anyone else who wants one can get one by purchasing one of the new early access supporter packs that have just been released to the store.
So,
If you just want early access to
how much
PoE2,
is there still
then
left?
you can
A
get a
little
key
bit.
in the $30 early access pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store.
So the game is free when
We
it
also
full
have a variety of
releases,
other
but
supporter
in
packs
early
filled with
access,
exclusive microtransactions, points to spend in the
it
store, and even physical items.
it requires to
Cosmetics can be used right now in PoE1 and in Path of Exile 2
$30 early access.
Most of
but
this
you get
footage
the
has been recorded
points.
in Path of Exile 1,
So that's
since when
kinda
you can use them
cool.
immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself. There is also a matching back attachment, which has an alternate
I mean,
variant
this is how they
depicting
are
the influence of
financing
corruption.
the game. So it's
Also in this pack, you
about
can find a
supporter
portal formed
packs
of the
and of
rusted
course
armor of the fallen
skins.
soldiers in the Red Veil of Ogham.
So, but when the
And
game
the
comes
offspring of
out
a
in
vicious
about 6 to
Krogan
12
boss found
months,
in the hunting
it
grounds.
is free.
This one doesn't look so vicious though.
But you know, getting some little microtransactions
On
for
top of
sure
that, you'll
makes the
receive
game
Iron Count's Zweihander
easier to
apply
play.
your
At least
one-handed
this is
or
how it
two-handed
was in Path
swords.
of Exile 1.
For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you will also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contained a true New
I like
Zealand
the
icon,
little-
the Kiwi.
I like the little kiwi.
Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new
I don't
themed
microtransact
Kiwi pet.
actually. I
The
can
pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away
even
at the
buy
first
them
sign of
anyway.
trouble.
Yeah, I
Become
think
the ruler of the desert with the King of the Faradin supporter pack.
the good thing about this
Show your
is
mastery of
that
traversing the sands of the Vasteri
people that
plains.
have the money
The body armor will allow
to
you to glide
spare
along the ground with
are
ancient sand magic.
investing more into
Now,
the
each
game
armor set comes with body armor,
than
boots, gloves, and helmet.
others that don't have
boots
the
are covered
money.
in sand.
But both of
If you
them
prefer
can
to
play
show
the
them
same
off,
game.
You can turn the gliding off if you want.
That's something that I like. I mean, we have
The
seen in
accompanying pack
D4
attachment equips you
the
with two
early
powerful
access,
pillars
whatnot.
that can control and manipulate
I don't know,
lightning.
what was it?
They will
80,
periodically
70?
release their energy in a
euro?
powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you.
$100? I don't know what it was.
A barrier of energy. Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's glorious
So,
skin.
when you consider
Or
that,
replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's End spear skin.
and then a
This
year
spear
later
skin
they
can be applied to staves
come
and war
around
staves
with
in Path of
an
Exile 1.
add-on and cash in
If you want
again.
to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you
And that's the
definitely
good
need
thing
your
about
trusty
Path of
moving
Exile. You
entire city
can
fortress
just
known as the
play the
Dreadnought
game as
and
it
travel across the Vasteri plains.
as they add
In
more and
Path of
more
Exile, you can
content.
decorate your hideout however you like,
And the
it's
people
no
that are
exception
into
here.
all kind of
It comes with a
skins and
variety
they
of thematic elements to use,
pay a
or
fortune,
use decorations from elsewhere
they
in the game.
in the end they are
Additionally, you will
financing
get
the
the
game for each and
Death
everyone
Threats
that
blessing
just wants to
level
play the game as it is.
The king of the Faradin Kiwi pet.
So, and that is
And last but
it's
not
a
least,
concept
the
that I
statue
think is
depicting the Val
is
Oversoul
fine.
from Path of Exile 1.
It's
For
not
those who don't know how
predatory as
supporter
some
packs
other
work,
games that are
each pack
having.
comes with all of the
First, you have
cosmetics
to
from the
pay for the
previous tier,
game.
so you'll get
You have
all
to
the
pay
items
for
from
the
Lord of Ogham
additional
supporter pack as
content,
well.
and then you have in-game
The Thorn
transactions
Surge
on
of the
top
Val
of
supporter
that.
pack features an armor set and
That
back
is
attachment themed
crazy
around
to
the
me.
Val and their pursuit of science and progress.
And people are defending that.
You can find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack, which causes thaumaturgic energy harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your weapon. This pack also contains Doyani's Idol. It replaces the default appearance of any foci to an
I mean,
ancient
skins
relic
in
once
general,
used by
they are
Doyani.
always something,
And this can be applied
you
to
know,
shields in Path of
subject
Exile
to
1.
what people like
That's not the
to
only
have their
Val
character
weapon
look
you'll find.
like.
It also
Some say
contains
that
the
looks
Wand of the
cool, others say
Thaumaturge
they
skin
don't like it.
and the Royal
And you
Sacrifice
don't
Dagger
have to
skin.
buy because there is no content locked behind
You
any
wouldn't
of
think to put
skins
sacrificial
or
gems on a
whatnot.
Kiwi, but the
And that's-
Val did.
that's fine
Thaumaturge
with
of
me.
The Val supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Val Kiwi pet and the Statue of Dominus. This is also the first pack in the series with a physical item. When purchasing
Have I
this pack, you'll
purchased
receive a
in
Path
Path of
2 logo
Exile
t-shirt. But if you don't want one,
some
you can
supporter
opt out
packs in the
return for
past?
additional points to spend in the
Maybe?
store. Becoming a warlord of the Karui
I
supporter
paid
will
for
grant
skins
you
in
an armor
Diablo
set
as
and
well,
back
but I
attachment adorned
do
with
not like
jade
their
carving
business
and
model.
iridescent feathers
Selling game,
resembling
then
power.
expensive
Enough to
cosmetics.
even
Yeah, and
impress
the
the
price as
ancestral
well.
gods, specifically Tukohama,
I mean,
the
we
Karui
don't
god
know
of
how
war.
it will be in Path of Exile 2, but in Path of Exile 1 it is
Overkill, you say? I
when
think
there
the
is a
Karui people
new
would
season
disagree.
coming out or new
Why not
league.
drop a gigantic totem on rare
They
enemies that you
have
slay to
the
crush them
supporter
to a pulp?
packs with their
Replace your
different
crafting bench in your hideout with the
skins as we see
ancestral
here
canoe crafting bench,
for
where
the early
ancestral chief
access.
Marta will summon a
And
giant canoe manned
then
by
you can
Karui
later on
warriors
just,
to aid
you
in
know,
your crafting
if you only
designs.
like to have the weapon skin, you can just buy the weapon skin. They are discounting
get a pair
certain
of
things
weapon skins.
over time, so
Akoya's felling axe skin to your
if you don't
one-handed
have
or two-handed
to
axes,
have it
or
on
Tokohama's
launch
crutch
and
to
you
your
don't want to
one-handed or
pay a
two-handed
fortune
maces.
and or you only want to have one piece of it, then you can get it in the
A true
end.
Karui warlord is always accompanied by their trusty Kiwi.
And in
Equipped with armor and harnessing ancestral
Diablo,
magic,
the
they're
problem
the
that I
perfect
have with that
sidekick.
is that you have to pay for the game and for
Once
the
one of the
add-ons,
most feared
and
beings in
then they
Rayclast,
have
Malachi was slain by a
extraordinary
powerful
high
exile.
cost
May the statue
for
commemorate
any
the
kind
virtue
of
exile's
the
past,
skins.
present, and of the future. Of course, it's not all about dressing up in game.
Hey
You'll want to look
Nubar,
good
how
in
you
real life
doing?
too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie.
You missed
final tier of
watching
supporter pack in the series
the
is
whole
the
trailer,
Liberator
but
of Rayclast
maybe you
supporter
have
pack.
seen it already.
The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest materials in Rayclast, and shattered
Hey,
glass
Wasp.
mosaics suspended in divine power.
I mean, that's
Set up your
beautiful.
base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats
Row,
that you can use to row
row
between
your
them.
boat.
Just walk to the piers,
Doo-doo-dee-doo.
click a boat to enter, and navigate as you choose. Decorate each island as you see fit to best represent
Holy
your well-earned
moly.
hideout.
That's so silly.
Everyone in your hideout can use their
Inventory
own
space is most
Why not some
important.
braces?
We'll always make that
also get the
I'll
window
look
to
at
Twilight
skins.
portal
That's
effect.
right.
A beautiful mosaic piece of art that shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back
I
to its
mean,
original form.
if you played Path of Exile 1, I think they
Rule
said that they
inside
want to
the
take
throne of the
over
ruler map
some of the
device.
assets
Sure,
that you bought
this
there
map
into
device
Path
can
of
create
Exile
portals
2,
between
so
game
we will
maps,
see how that
but it
will
also
work
comes
out.
with a throne you can sit on to oversee
You gonna
your
play
growing
this
kingdom.
rando?
Look down on
That's
the
not a
plebeians
question,
running your
that's
maps.
fact.
Being the Liberator, though, is not just about sitting on your throne all day.
If
you do decide to join the
if
fight
people
yourself,
don't like me to
you can
play it
leave a
on
high
stream,
priest
then I
in
play it
charge to
off
second in
stream.
command.
But I will play it, no matter what.
Liberator of Rayclast supporters will also get a set of varied weapon skins.
Unfortunately, I have
The Light of
to
Divinity
work
skin skin, the
another
Deliverance crossbow skin,
2 weeks
the Justice
after
flail
the
skin,
launch,
and the
so
Redemption shield skin.
it will be tough.
Once again, you'll have an accompanying Kiwi, and of course,
Yeah,
a
Christmas
statue
is about
depicting one
that,
of the
yeah.
most iconic events
The Christmas
in
week I'm on
Raycast's
vacation.
history. The battle between a powerful exile and Kitava, the
I
insatiable.
mean, look at this
With the help
statue.
of two deities, Sin and Innocence, the exile was able to defeat him once and for all.
That's
This supporter
crazy
pack also
cool.
contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book.
I mean,
includes a huge amount
that's
of
the most
amazing concept
expensive
art
one. I
and
think
lore
it's
produced during the
400
long and
something
exciting journey of
bucks.
Path of Exile
So
2's development.
that is
And finally,
wild.
Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in designing game features. For Path of Exile 2, we'll be adding the Twilight Order foil reliquary.
Uh-huh.
By becoming a Liberator of Rayclast supporter, once Path of Exile 2 is released, you will be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary.
Okay.
Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted along with a message for the lucky player. The more players submit the same unique, the more chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely.
I mean, these are
Almost
just
all of these
some
items are available to
little
use in
fun
PoE 1
aspects.
right now. There are a few exceptions where the item class clearly doesn't
You can
exist.
stream it
such as
in your off
crossbows or
time
flails.
if
And there are
you
also a
chat
few
onto it.
microtransactions
If you
on
stream
weapon
as
types that are
I
unavailable
do
in
that
PoE
as
2 at
well.
the start of early access. Once classes that use those weapon types
Second
are added,
camp for Path of
those
Exile? Oh
microtransactions
gosh,
will be
no.
available to you. If you
Oh
can't
lord,
decide
no.
which supporter pack to choose yet, you can
I
always
play
start
all
with
kind
early
of
access
games,
supporter
and
pack.
I know
It
some
just
people
includes
don't
a
like
key
this
and
kind
some
of
points to
game
spend
or
in the
that
store.
kind of games.
Then you can upgrade to
It
any of
is
the
what
following
it
tiers
is.
at a later date. These supporter packs
No
will be
stretchy
available
stretch
for
break on
purchase throughout
stock?
early
It
access.
should be.
We'd really like to thank you for your ongoing support.
So,
Without you guys, Path of Exile 2 could not have happened.
here we go.
Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Stick around, because coming up next, we have a live
Nope,
Q&A.
we will not watch that with ZD because that's another, I think, 1 or 2 hours or whatever. That would be a little bit too much. No, I just wanted to finish the trailer before we are going on and having a little bit of a stretch break. Skylar, what are you? Are you naughty? Naughty? Your Discord did not alert me. Did it not? Did it not? Wait a second. It did not. Well, and I have no idea why it did not. Oh, I'm sorry. Trailer, that thing's an hour and 20 minutes long. Yeah, I mean, it's not a trailer. It's more like a little bit of a... I think the trailer ends about here. So it's something like 7-minute trailer. And then they are talking about classes and everything that is in the game. That is from the live stream that they did when they revealed it. And that's what I wanted to look with you. I am betrayed. No, that's why I always say, you know, if you're following, you have to keep the notification on, else you will miss out. Woo, woo, woo. So anyway, we will of course have a little bit of a stretchy break, and then we will jump over into Planet Crafter, because yeah, the early access to Path of Exile 2 comes out next week, so roughly in about 1 week of time. I guess my stream broke off the ads and it still won't show my pic. I can just get sound and chat back now. Noise. Do they have a coin pricing cut for stuff like inventory yet? That will make a big difference in what pack I buy. Yeah, I know a lot of people want to buy or see everything before, but you know, it's early access. Everyone is anticipating that the launch of the game will be a little bit bumpy. So, and what I would recommend, of course, is, yeah, wait for the launch, and then the questions will be answered within minutes. And as I said, I assume that a lot of the assets will go from part 1 to part 2. So if you have some of the stuff already in part 1, it might be available in part 2 as well. So anyway, I just wanted to share the hype. I watched only a little bit of the Path of Exile 2 content reveal, and I said, oh, I can watch that on stream with all of you. And that you all now come up late because you said, oh my god, Discord was not telling me. Huh. I should have seen that. No, I'm really hyped and to see what it is. When they had their first little peek previews of closed beta and whatnot testing, it was always looking a little bit like, will it be too slow? Will it be as slow as D4? That feels really slow, and it was really slow, but the footage that we have seen today, for especially for the endgame part, was more looking like going into the direction of the speed that PoE1 has. Of course, it is not that power creepy at the start, and this will come over time. So I'm really hyped to see how that game's gonna be like. And yeah, we will play a little bit of that here as well. So that's that. And we will have a little bit of a stretch break. Let me do that. I will leave